We've been enjoying this conversation with Bishop Kenroy Burke, celebrating 20 years as the pastor of Kingdom Empowerment New Testament Church of God. As he celebrates 20 years, we take a look at his life, the highs, the lows, the victories, the challenges. And I know you'll be blessed and encouraged by his story. Talk to us about your most challenging experience as a pastor.
No, I'll be the first to say that the members at Kingdom Empowerment have been extremely gracious to me. They never probably gave me the lashes or criticism that I deserve sometimes along the way, or those kind of things. They were always very supportive. I've always had situations where they worked very closely with me. I hear of people talking about terrible experiences they had. I don't know if this was probably Anthony, if this was probably the bargain that God had with me, that if you get into it, I'm not gonna make it as bad as you saw. But for some reason, it has never been a tough place like that. But there are a couple of things that I could say to you that really shook me. I went through a period here where we lost some members back to back. And it broke me because they were very, very close to the family here. They were very significant persons here. When I say lost them, I actually mean they passed away, not walked away from the ministry. And that was a tough one, because here we had some mothers of the church who served diligently, who did their best in ministry. We had one who had not too long come in, probably like 3-4 years, and she was really serving and doing extremely well. And it broke me, it broke the entire congregation really, when we sat and we saw those losses. We lost the founder of the church, Reverend Estwick, and that broke us, all sorts of people. So that would have been probably the toughest times that we walked through, where we lost persons who were such an integral part of the ministry. And we knew that when those losses, it was no replacing them. There's some people you just can't replace, and there was no replacing them. But we also knew that the significant value that they had added, at least we were the recipients of that value before they closed their eyes, because they poured out of themselves into us as a congregation. Interestingly, during this year, that's one of the things that we are focused on doing, celebrating those people who made that kind of impact. But when it comes to church splits and all those things, I've never ever gone through anything of that sort. And even as I talk to you, I'm trying to find something.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
That is probably a sweet spot that I'm in.
Yeah, and the truth is, even in the challenges that you've just described, there are leadership lessons that we learn. Because separation, death, is a tough thing to go through, and as a people we can come to a space when we lose a family member, when we lose a friend. How am I going to get over this? How am I going to get through this? Sometimes years pass and you're still wondering, how am I going to get through this? And I know you've had your fair share of personal trauma in that regard that we would get to. But what leadership lessons, though, have you learned from, taking a group of people through that time where you can ask yourself some questions about life, where things seem a bit challenging and overwhelming?
Well, Anthony, one of the first things I would say is the value of relationship. Ministry is about relationship, and you can't do ministry outside of relationship. You can try to pretend that you can do it outside of relationship, but it's all about relationship. And here at Kingdom Empowerment, we have valued relationships over the years. So much so that sometimes there are persons who come in and they're new members and they feel awkward for a period, because it's like these guys are so close knit. Where am I going to find a space in? So we've always valued relationship. And that, I think, has been the key to us coming out of these things, because The relationship, it is almost as though somebody falls straight back into space, or somebody jumps in and takes over a role and does those kind of things, because we're all interested in making sure that we can all do it together. We've had for many years the belief that we're not going to leave anybody behind. And it meant even during a tough period like COVID, which was another tough period, um, COVID taught us the value of relationship, because by the time we came back to the sanctuary, not many were missing, if any at all, because we still kept those relationships going and connecting with people and talking to people and everything and being a part of their lives. I have learned from all of those losses that each person here is valuable. So we build intentional relationship with each person at Kingdom Empowerment, because we don't know when we could lose them. And that was, I'm saying to you, that was a tough period, because it was a matter of weeks when two went. And then shortly after another one went, and it was like, oh, I don't know if we can handle any more of this. But it showed us a whole lot of what it meant to hold together, to keep together.
No, indeed, you're making a powerful point about the role of churches in our community. It keeps people connected.
Connected. You don't get, you see, the base of our congregation here, and people don't believe it, but the base of it in the early days was just two families. I can call their names. We had on one side the St. Hill family, and on the other side the Graham family. Two families made up the nucleus of the congregation over the years. It's a mushroom into a whole lot more. But what was interesting is that they were very much from the community. They were community people, which meant, yes, they also brought community issues, but they were very much community people. And they grew up together, they knew each other, personally and everything. And that was the nucleus of the congregation. So community matters. So even if everybody else had left, you knew that there were at least two families that would never leave, if you get what I'm saying. Obviously, you also knew that if you offended one in the family, that you could very well have that family leave and leave the others behind. But it was a strength from that. But then that nucleus allowed us then to be able to start to blossom into other areas and other families and other households, and other people started coming in, and we grew. Because I never said it to you, but when I first became the pastor at the church, we were over on the other side on the corner. I was one of 14 members. I was one of 14 members.
Right.
God has been graciousness and growing the congregation over the years. But I was one of 14 members. New Testament Church of God, by their very nature, community nature, they don't grow to a massive 5,000 member church generally. And this is all across the Caribbean, because community church is the focus there. But I was one of 14 members, and we built and we did big things together, etc. One of the things that we can say even right now as we speak, the edifice that we're in and all that, we built this with 30 members. Never owed anybody anything, because that's the commitment and the dedication that the membership had when it came to the vision and being able to do the things that God had called us to do.
That's tremendous.
Really, really.
And what's your membership now?
We are just vacillating around 80 members or so. But we have seen, as I said to you, we've seen people come and go, but the nucleus remains. And that's the thing about it. The nucleus has always been here.
I'm going to ask you now to reflect on a couple of the really outstanding moments, the things that made you proud to be pastor of Kingdom Empowerment New Testament Church of God.
No, you're putting me in a tough one, because those are many. The thing is this, and it's something that I would want to say to you: the personal achievements in the lives of the membership matter to us too. So those personal achievements, when I've seen them do some great things, those have always really made me extremely proud. But on July I think it was July the 20th, 2014, we moved from the small church at the corner, which was pretty much about the size of the platform, our current platform, and we moved from there. We came over into this space that we're currently in. And we we had been spending that, like say 10 years or so of building, because when I came, we started the building project in the next year, 2005. I came July, I was installed in July, and by February 2005, we started the project of making this thing happen. And when we walked into the sanctuary and we had the unveiling of our sign and new brand, because we totally rebranded the church. We were Cottage New Testament Church of God. God said to us, no, you're now Kingdom Empowerment New Testament Church of God. So even down to the signage and everything as we rebranded. And when we rebranded, that was probably one of the most signal moments of my tenure here at Kingdom Empowerment, because I saw people who had a mind to work. As I said, we were few. When we came over here, we were just 30 or 36 members. I remember the first day, 36 members did all of this, owing no man anything but love, making sacrifices and everything to make sure that this sanctuary that can now house 250 people was completed.
Wow. And it's a beautiful place. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. And they were the ones who got involved and made it happen. So when I think of that, that was probably one of the greatest moments. But for me to pick out anything else might very well be hard. But when I see the development in them, I see where they're going, when they call me and they celebrate a promotion or a new job and those kind of things. All of those are things that are just a blessing beyond measure. One of the other things too is when I first came, we had some debt to our national office and some other things, and we paid off the debt just like that. I remember they Sunday morning announced and told them that we owed absolutely nothing. So here we are paying off debt, but we're still doing the project, and the sacrifices are being made, and nobody is complaining or saying, oh man, we're giving too much to this, we're giving too much to that. Everybody just feeling as though we are part of what is really happening. They could feel the momentum and feel as it was moving. We also had I can't remember the exact year offhand, but we had a show that we had here with our young people expressing their talent. It was called Kingdom Safari. And I remember the young ones, some of them, the young, some of them are still very much here with us, but I remember those young ones. It was a talent show, Christian talent show and everything else. We had this auditorium filled up, lighting and everything. And I remember them expressing themselves in the Lord. That was one of those moments when I really felt proud, really felt proud of them, because I saw that they had moved, kind of like broken those shells. You know, sometimes you're operating in a shell and you feel that shyness in it. When they came forward and said, yes, they're interested, it shocked me first. But then when they really started to put the effort into it and I started to see the growth in them, the night was second to none. I must admit, it was really second to none. And then there was one last one that I was share with you. Yes, there are probably a few more to pick up, but one last one. I remember sitting at River Road New Testament Church of God, and they were doing baptism that Saturday afternoon. And on the platform, Kingdom Empowerment had 9 people on the platform. There was one lady, Janet was probably in her 30s, 40s at that time. And then there were a series of children. So that you could see them actually like they lined up almost like going up in steps, and then they ended at Janet. And I remember someone saying, sitting right there in the congregation, they didn't know where they were from or anything like that. And they surely didn't know that I was sitting behind them. And somebody said, wait, where they go with all of those children? They think there's a daycare nursery? And I sat down there and I smiled. And today, those children are still very much with us. So lovely. Very much with us in ministry. Danielle was part of that. Danielle St. Hill, who is our worship leader now, or the worship leader. So you look at it and you smile, because sometimes people think that, and it, even for me, it represented those, what we would want to consider in scripture, small beginnings. Because we started with a very young church, but they have grown now, and majority of them are still here with us. the majority of them are still very much a part of the ministry. So when I saw things like that, I must admit, um, those things are the key moments in like the development. When I see the development, and see that they are able now to carry themselves in ministry in a very strong and dynamic way.
Well, Bishop, you've got an inspiring story of kingdom development happening here at Kingdom Empowerment. And I am looking forward to continuing this conversation because clearly there's a lot that we have to talk about how you got to this space of celebrating 20 years.
Yes, there's a lot.